Hello everyone, welcome back. Oh, wait, I forgot my light. Oh, that's the wrong light. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Pokemon stream, your first Pokemon stream, whatever it is. Hello, 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 and welcome on in. I feel tiny. Arcane, Jaden, welcome on in. Polly, good evening, sir. Apologies for the tardiness. I just spent the last 3 minutes trying to take an eyelash out of my eye. Because they grow inwards instead of outwards. You'd think mascara would fix it, but no, it doesn't. I don't like it. I don't like it. How we doing, everyone? Papa! Mommy! Hi! Oh my god, the whole family is here. Now we're just missing my sister. We're just missing my sister and the whole family is in chat. Also, we have a little jazzy cameo right off the gate. How we doing, everybody? Hope everyone's having a good Monday, even though it's Monday. Is story time more expensive? No, it isn't. Why would I make it more expensive? Use so many words that I don't really understand in the last minute. More confusion for a start. Okay, Polly, let me explain to you. Jazzy is my cat. She just showed up in this corner. Papa is my dad, Mommy is my mom. They're both in chat right now, through my dad's account. Had my sister also been in chat, the whole family would be here. Anything else you don't understand, sir? Also, today is Monday. I miss slow and easy talking. I mean, I can try to slow down, but I don't know, I just feel more comfortable talking this way. Nice to see the voice back. The voice was never gone. The throat was, though. Problem was never my vocal cords. It just kind of hurt when air passed through my throat, which is kind of what you need to do to talk normally. So yeah. But I mean, if you want me to talk a little bit, I don't know, less loud, more painfully, we can try to do that. It's gonna be a learning curve though, because I had the learning curve of talking louder, and now I'm gonna have to unlearn how to talk louder. It sucks for a person using normal amount of air. It had to be painful. No, like seriously though, because like, yeah, no, the air passing through my very much inflamed throat was not very comfortable. Nope, it was not comfortable at all. But yeah, it is what it is. Symbio, hello, 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 welcome on in. How we doing, good sir? Lots of people in chat tonight. What? Y'all gathered round to come keep me company while I evolve some Pokemon today? You guys are too kind. Way too kind. But yeah, it's been a day. I had to go to the vet again to actually come out with not really a solution, but it's fine. We're gonna figure it out. And in the meantime, I have this really fun little song stuck in my head on a loop, which is actually not a bad thing in this situation. Not bad. It's a cute song, so it's like 10 seconds long, though. That's the only issue. Should be a little bit longer, but it's fine. I have a 10-second song stuck in my head. It's fine. But yeah, how's everyone doing? And also, Symbio, are we going? Good things need a break from being bombarded with questions from Nitty? Why are you being bombarded with questions from Nitty? Also, where is Nitty? They have a Pokemon to transform so that they can beat Savage. Like, what's up with them? Where they at? But yeah, guys, I got an interesting client story to tell you today. Interesting from my end. I gave one of the weirdest examples I could possibly give today. It was really weird. I think the client understood though. Maybe. I think. Perhaps? I don't know. I think I left an egg rotting for a while. Sam! Hello, welcome on in! Was anyone hurt during that process or only brain cell suffers? I was hurt during that process, okay? May. Elsa, hey. You need to tell me about food? Symbio, listen to Nitty. You need to tell them about food. Nitty! Congratulations! Wow, I get to say this. You are the first person to get to Route 7. And it's not Savage. You win for now. And now Savage is also on Route 7. Okay, it's a tie. How we doing, everyone? Oh my goodness. You guys are neck and neck. I mean, technically now would be a good time to start your race. Like, who gets to Route 8 first? Now's a good time. Because, like, y'all are kind of at the same level right now. Oh, yes. Again, Savage. Savage with the Poly gift sub. Thank you. Again, and I will say this every single month. Back to lurking. Bye, Savage. Thank you for popping in. And Sam got a group key. Sam, are you making good progress with this game, or did you just left all the eggs rotten? It's an evolution, not a rotten egg. Yeah. I definitely did not unintentionally miss that message. Anyways, guys, I have a bunch of Pokemon to evolve, and I refuse to use candies to evolve them, so let's get cracking. Cracking? I didn't say that like that. Anyway, let's go. Scratched my nose doing that. What the hell? What the hell? Okay, so here's the thing. We got some Pokemon to evolve, but we also have some swords to find. Now, the text from the teacher said that the swords are usually around the area of where the door is? Question mark, question mark, question mark? So I'm just gonna go off on a limb and assume that there's a sword somewhere here that I haven't found. Eggs aren't rotten, so I had to sort it out. Haven't been on for a while, so I need to catch up proper. Life has been crazy the last 4 or 5 weeks. I understand the sentiment, dude. I understand. Okay. So, we're either gonna find some swords, or we are going to evolve some Pokemon, or both, maybe both. Both could be good. Not 100% sure yet. But yeah. Who are you? You are Sparkles, but you are not Shines. Maybe there's a sword on top of this mountain. I have no idea how many swords I already have and how many I don't have. So we should probably go investigate that as well, because I'm sure that there's at least 1 or 2, I'm pretty sure there's at least like 1 or 2 of those doors where I think I only need like 1 sword. Which, you know, is pretty cool. Is this somewhere I can enter? No, this is not a place I can enter. So I kind of need to go and figure out, like, where the rest of the swords are. Because I'm gonna need those Pokemon too for the Pokedex, so... Alright, there's the Gimmighoul that somehow it's impossible to catch. Yeah. Can I see the swords from up here? Like, is that a thing that you can see? You can see swords from up here? Or, like, not at all? Because it'd be really cool if you could see the swords from up here. And I know they're not swords, they're stakes, but I think that swords are cooler. I did not do those. Then how did you complete the Pokedex? Well, you didn't, apparently, right? How can you complete the Pokedex if you don't get the swords? That aren't swords, because they're technically steaks. But steaks sound like meat. And, well, you can't really eat these swords, so... You need friends! What? No way. You need friends? I'm gonna switch this for about 2 months now. What? No. How do you lose a Switch? How do you lose a console? How'd that work, Foley? How'd that work? I don't, that doesn't compute. I still don't have half of those legends. Well, I want to get them. One way or another, I'm gonna find them. I'm gonna get them, get them, get them, get them. One way or another. I didn't say I lose it. I gave it to a cousin and didn't really see that much. Okay, so you know where it is. So you do know where it is. You little liar. Okay, you know what I'm also gonna do? I'll get them at some point. Well, I want to get them now. Wait, where's my map? So we know that yellow, we still need 3 for the yellow one. Where are the rest of them, though? Hold on. I could just do this. Okay, so there's another one here. Okay, Miss Sassy, we'll have different discussion when you learn Croatian. Dude, okay, listen. For the trivia night, that's gonna happen next Monday for like my second year streaming. I have put so many Pokedex entries through Google Translate and then back to English. And honestly, one of the combinations that helps a lot is putting it through Croatian and then from Croatian going to like Greek. It doesn't make any sense, but it's a thing. And it works. Wait, I can fly here? Yo, I can fly here? But why couldn't it let me fly to the other one? How, what? What? But it was... But it didn't let me fly to the other one. I'd ask why, but I know better. But like, it let me... It didn't let me fly to the last one. Why did it let me fly to this one? This makes absolutely no sense. I'm pretty much confused. Why would it let me fly to this one but not the other one? Is it because this one has like one less thing holding the door together? Have I been to this one before? Wait, so if I go check the other ones now, they let me fly there too? Because I'm pretty sure I've been to some of the other ones already. There was a blue one over here, I think. Oh, damn! You guys... When you said last stream that I could fly to them and the first one I tried was the one I didn't know, I was just like, no, you can't fly to these things. Turns out, it is possible. That's interesting. So if you've already found them, that means you can fly to them. Okay, okay. Question is, I need to find swords. I need to find swords. I need to find a blue sword. I need to find 1 purple sword. I need to find 2 yellow swords. And 1 green sword. So we're on track with the sword finding situations. What we aren't on track with is the rain. Why in the world is it impossible for me to find rain in this game? Like, who made this game and why does it never rain? It's raining in real life. Why can it not rain in game? Like, if I want to get a Gudra, I really do need it to rain. And standing under a waterfall does probably nothing. And honestly, I know I say that I don't want to use candies to like evolve anything, but if I find rain in this game, I will use candies to level up Sliggoo so I can get a Gudra. Because honestly, this is ridiculous. I've been trying to evolve this thing for like, I don't know, days now. It's been days. It's been literal days without rain. Like, my game is currently experiencing a drought. Who are you? No. Oh. There's a lot of tadpoles. Okay. So, with that said, I do kind of have to evolve things. I would do that with Sliggoo because rain is like a few spits of water before it stops. Yeah, I don't think I have a choice. I haven't seen rain in this game in like literal days. Well, we always ask for a realistic Pokemon game, but more realistic than not raining in Spain, Portugal. It's been raining for 2 weeks straight now. Okay, well maybe not every single day, but like a lot of days for the past 2 weeks has been rain. That's it! It's because it's been raining in real life, it's not raining in game. That must be it, right? That's correct logic, right? I feel like that's correct logic. Why is the Sudowoodo near water? Makes perfect sense. Yeah, no. It makes sense, it makes sense. I don't know how, where, or when it makes sense, but it makes sense. Some way, somehow. Yeah. Now, I just need to find some extra swords, basically. Who is... Oh, I am texting myself. Lovely. We've hardly had any rain here for about 4 weeks, just Sahara does. Oh, we've had rain with the sand. Like, I got to my car this morning and I literally had to like... Okay, this is gonna sound kind of dumb, but... So, you know the water pew-pew that like lets you use the window shields, wiper things? The water pew-pew that lets you do the pew-pew-pew-pew-pew-pew. Oh my god, I sound like a toddler. But yeah, that thing in my car has a leak, which means the water doesn't come out of the pew-pew. Explaining myself so well here. I don't know names of things, okay? Like in Portuguese, people just say that the pew-pew is called a mija-mija, which is technically the same. That would translate to like piss-piss. So, you can't really judge me for that, okay? But yeah, so that thing is like, so I have like an entire like 5-liter bottle of like water in my car for these kinds of situations. So that I can just douse my car in water. Water for the windscreen wipers. Yes, but what's the pew-pew called though? The thing that like lets the water come out. That has a name. And it's not piss-piss. You can't judge me, Polly. I judge myself. Like, yeah, I know it doesn't make any sense, but okay. Sass can help you here. Oh, I know. It's not my fault that I don't know car part names. Wonder where another sword could be. Get good. Well, I mean, yeah, but also, like, no. Oh, I'm sorry, Slugu. Did you just get confused, honey? Oh. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you, Sliggoo. I just need you to evolve, which means I need some rain. I still need some rain. I swear, I'm gonna get another shiny or 2 or 3 before I get rain, and that really sucks. When do you start stream on... When do you start stream on Monday? I start stream... Every single time I start stream, it's at 8:30 my time. And next Monday will be the same. It's 8:30 my time. And that's just because I found out when the one stream I did where I started earlier, I started like 30 minutes sooner, and yeah, it's very inconvenient. Let's just put it that way. So I can't really start any sooner. Cause it means literally everything I have to do after I get back from work gets rushed. And that's not a fun time. The thing that shoots the water is a spray nozzle. So the spray nozzle for the windscreen wipers is broken and it has a leak, so the water doesn't get out of there. That you'll do. Yeah, so last year when I had my 1-year anniversary, I streamed every single day of the week that week. And by the end of the week, I was dead. So I'd rather not die this time around, so... I'm sorry, is that Raichu sleeping with its belly up? Oh my gosh, it actually is? Are you serious right now? Aww! I was gonna take a picture! No! Get away from me! I thought you will do longer stream for some reason. Not willing to die for as well. I'm not willing to die just pronto. I am going to Rome in about a month, and I'd like to get there. Thank you very much. I've never been to Rome, so I'd like to get there, please. Thank you. But I will do longer stream. It's just gonna be longer as in... you know, not the direction you want, Polly. Basically. Me old, me need my sleep. Well, I need sleep too, but I also need to get all the things done that I do when I get home from work. So, kind of includes feeding my cats and feeding myself. Kind of a big deal, you know? The whole eating food thing. I would like another yellow sword, please. Sounds complicated. I mean, I try to simplify things, but you know, not always. Not always. And feeding cats has been a process, so let's say that again. Oh look, there's toads in the snow. Wait, do I have this thing? Yo, do I have you? I do. Oh, cool. If I have you, I don't need you. 'Cause I already have you. What I need are swords. And I'm not getting any swords. Also don't know where to look for them swords. Does anyone have like a map of where the swords could potentially be? That would be helpful. Because I feel like I've roamed the entire map, and if I haven't found the other swords by accident by now, I'm definitely not going to be able to find them not by accident. Is this a cave? Wait, is there a cave over here? Why is there a cave? How is there a cave? Who is there a cave? There's a glacier too? Wait, do I have you? I do. Oh, what? Oh gosh. I think you can only find them at night. But I'm pretty sure I found swords during the day already as well. So that's a bit odd. Something glowing or something. Yeah. Oh, I found a yellow one. I found a light. Yo, I'm telling you, this whole finding swords by accident thing is actually a thing. See? It's daytime. I found a sword. Yay! If this is the yellow one, then I just need one of each color. They do glow. They're just not restricted to nighttime. And there's a cave over here. Have I been in this cave? I don't think I've been in this cave, or maybe I have. Oh, I might have been in this cave already. I don't actually know where I am right now. Look at all my blobs. I wish one of them was blue. So they do glow, which makes them probably a little bit easier to see at night, but it doesn't mean that they don't spawn in during the day. I did just find a yellow sword, which means I gotta be on track, right? Just a rain. Like, that's all I want in life right now. I want to find a blue blob on Saturday. I really want to find a blue blob on Saturday, dude. Oh my goodness. I want to find a blue blob on Saturday so bad. Like, I need the freaking gulpin. As well as the orange cactus. Yeah, I mean, it's a new shiny, but honestly, the surskit, though. I'll take a surskit. Thank you. But actually, I saw the sprite for surskit, and I always thought surskit's shiny was gonna be black, but it's apparently dark blue. I'm very confused. So, Octies, hello! Welcome on in. It's been a while. How we doing? What's the best thing about Switzerland? IDK with the flag's a plus. The flag is indeed a plus. You are correct. Acne is my top wild shiny chase, but Relicanth would be a bonus. Honestly, Relicanth would be amazing. I hope I can hatch one. Problem is, I have an entire bag filled with 7k eggs that I am trying to get rid of. Used to be in the older game, slightly changed over to dark blue. I mean, the black one looked so much cooler though. I don't know why they changed it. The black one looked so much cooler. They should have just kept it black. Honestly. What's going on over here? Is this Psyduck carrying a belly bolt? Wait, no, are we serious right now? Is this Psyduck carrying a belly bolt? Because that's kind of what it looks like right now. Oh no, they kind of merged. Oh no, they unmerged now. Okay, we're fine. That's me with 12-kilometer eggs. I'm trying to restrain myself from getting eggs for that reason. I mean, there's like a little cave over here. Look at the tiny cave. It's such a tiny cave. Daytime? Nighttime. Daytime. Nighttime. Yeah. Yep. I just hope there isn't a too large of a focus on like doing raids for research because oh honey. Love me some raids, says my free raid pass and 42 unused paid passes that I keep accumulating from research and not using because I don't do raids like ever. Yeah. I'm very much a solo player in this game, even though this game is the kind of game that you can't really play solo. Oh look, what's this area? It doesn't really go anywhere. Interesting. It just has these weird frog shark things. What even is this? What is it? What's Frigid Backs based on even? Because it kind of looks like a frog, but it also kind of looks like a shark. I'm having the same as well. I really do raids nowadays and mostly solo. Yeah, I for the longest time now I've only done like solo raids, which means level 3s if I can, and level 1s just always. Like I am missing a ton of legendary Pokemon just because I don't do the raids. But they all come out eventually, I think. Baby Godzilla. Okay, but like, what even is Godzilla? You know? Like, what combination of animals is Godzilla? Have I been up here already? I don't think I've been up here. Interesting. Oh, I wanted to fly into the waterfall. That's sad. Depending on the version lore, a hell of a lot of radiation. Okay, but like... It's not just radiation. There's gotta be an animal in there somewhere. Also, I'm still trying to get female shinies to land it. I've had 20 male shinies. That's a lot of male shinies, dude. That's a lot of male shinies. Wait, Sam, have you hatched any Salandit from the 12kx in Pogo? Like any of them at all? Because like I don't really do 12kx because, well, yeah. Who are you? Okay, so that's a pincursion. I'm gonna get this pincursion. Oh, lend shiny mess too. I only had one and it was a male. Well, at least you got one. I don't even think I have that. I'm pretty sure I don't have a male Salandit in Pogo. Their hate rate has been slightly boosted, but they're still hard to hatch. Yes, I am sure their hate rate is boosted. If you only hatch male ones. I know what you mean, the hatch rate. Okay, I think Pokemon Go is glitching because it's 9 p.m. and I just got the reward of the day that should have been at 9 a.m. May as well be hated too. Yeah, exactly. Actually, I don't think I have a single one of those. Oh no, I have one. I have a single male Salandit. And it's not good IVs. It's like a 2-star. So, not great. Not great at all. At least I caught that one though. That's good. That is good. Okay, so Sliggoo only evolves in rain, right? Snow doesn't count? I know. It's pathetic. But like, are we sure snow doesn't count? Because I really could use snow counting for the Sliggoo. Yeah, snow doesn't work. Figured, right? I found snow. I don't think I'll ever find rain in this game. Not at this rate. We still need to find the rest of the swords, though. Back. Can this game please bless me with some rain? Just please? Hello, Champion Tasha. I am now a champion, guys. In case you didn't know. Even Nurse Joy, or her daughter, cousin, descendant, that doesn't really look like Nurse Joy anymore. Yeah. I just want rain. Well, if I stand under a waterfall, you know, that could be like emulating rain, right? Like they won't be the visor. Like if I were to just like be here, that could be like rain. I'm a champion. You are just a regular scrub. Well, listen, I beat the Elite Four. I beat La Primera or Gita. Don't remember how to pronounce her name. And I beat Nimona, so I have the champion title now. That's just how this works. And if you don't like it, well, too bad. Who are you? The belly bolt's having a rave. This is one of those burps. Okay, but like, what if, okay, but like, what if a different Pokemon, does the battle, rain situation thing? Will the rain continue like in real life? Because like, if another Pokemon does it, that's not me, it's not forced. It's the game itself telling like, hey, it's time for some rain. You know, you can rain. Can you tell I'm desperate? Probably not, right? Like I'm masking it pretty well. Come on. I need the snow to turn into rain. Just, you know, just casually. Just casually turn into rain. People won't even tell the difference. People won't tell the difference, right? What? Oh, I hit a dog. That's not great. Is there no area in Helgheim where there is rain all the time? I don't think there is. I think I would have stumbled across it by now. It's always one in every Pokemon game. Yeah, but also, like, not every Pokemon game had, weather. You know? Which is kind of a big deal. You just got a shiny? Which one? Congratulations, but also which one? Scyther. Also, which game? Are we talking this game? Are we talking Pokemon Go? I don't remember if you still play Pokemon Go or not. Finding rain most in Casa Roya Lake more often compared to other areas in the game. Okay, then maybe that's where we need to go. We need to go to the lake. I somehow feel like I haven't been in this area before. I don't know. Have I been in this area before? I actually don't fully remember if I've been here before. This point I'm just following the river. Oh my gosh! 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 Guys, I found the last yellow one. I definitely haven't been here before, otherwise this thing wouldn't be here. It's gonna happen now. Ooh. You heard a mysterious cry coming from the shrine. So, like, we can go there now and, like, catch Pokemon? That's how this works, right? Okay, I'm excited. Hold on, I need to save the game first before this thing crashes on me. Just finished The Last of Us 2 game is just pure heartbreaking. Yeah, I don't want anything heartbreaking today, please. I don't think my heart can take it. You can challenge that specific layer. Oh! Let's go do that! I think it's this one, right? This is the yellow one? I'm excited. Okay, let's go. I should have some water as well. Let's find out what is behind the yellow door. Or is this the green door? I feel like this is the green door. What's behind the green door? A faint sound is coming from within the shrine. Will you touch the shrine? Guys, are we going to touch the shrine? We should touch the shrine. Let's go. Yes, touch the shrine. Touch. Why didn't Spider-Man touch it? Like, pew, touch. Do it. Didn't we have a talk about scary? No, I'm not a crazy person, don't worry. Rattle, rattle, rumble, rumble, rumble. Kerbang! It's a pile of shred. Oh, look, it's the toilet moose! It's the toilet moose! If you had to tell yourself you're not crazy, dude, I'm sorry, but I didn't have it. Ting Lu, but that has a head looking like it's the toilet moose! Can I quick catch it? It'd be cool if I could quick catch it. No. Too good to be true. Oh, that did a lot of damage. Okay, music. We're gonna put it to sleep with Clodsire, hopefully. It looks pretty dope. Ruination? What the hell is that kind of move? It looks like a dark type move. Is this a dark type? Kill it? No, it's not very effective. Okay. But it poisoned. Wait, can it fall asleep if it's poisoned? It can't, right? It's dark ground. Oh, thank goodness it didn't go with surf. It doesn't mean it doesn't fall asleep anymore. And I am on a time limit now. Because it will die if I don't. Treasures of Ruin are a group of dark type. Oh! Oh, that's pretty neat. I don't think we've had dark type legendaries. Like, ever. Aside from... Yveltal, I think. I think Yveltal is the only legendary that has a dark typing. If my memory serves me right. The music's pretty nice, though. Sorry, Claude. Oh! No, 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 don't cry, Bebe. There are others? What are the other dark types, though? Galarian Moltres is not a dark type, I think. So that ain't it. I'm sorry, Claude. Wait, that only did 5? Does Ruination not kill? Come on, stay in the ball, baby. Oh, this thing is gonna die! They're basically the polar opposite of the forces of nature. They cause ruin instead of maintaining balance. Okay, if this doesn't stay in the ball, then I don't know what will. No! It did! I killed it! I wanted to put it to sleep, and now it's fainted. Ting Lu became sealed in the shrine again? Wait, do I have to go find the stakes again? It respawns! Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Okay. That basically means that this is like an infinite... It's an infinite loop of XP if you don't catch it. You can just keep battling this thing for XP. There are 11 Dark-type legendary Pokemon? Where? Who? What? How? I don't remember I fell tall. What are the other ones? Touch the shrine. Wait, it seems like the shrine won't open again for a while? Wait, what does that mean? What is a while? The list does include mythical and ultra beasts? Okay, but I don't count ultra beasts as legendaries, and mythicals are mythicals, not legendaries. So that's not the same thing. Also, there better be a new mythical in the DLC for this game. But also, you did save, right? I did, but like, I want to know what a while is. Is a while like an hour? Is a while like a couple of minutes? Is it an in-game day? What is a while? It's 10 minutes? Okay, well that's cool. Cause like this thing did give me enough XP to almost be able to evolve Tandemaus, I think. So that's nice. Okay, well, moving on. We have more swords to find. So the sword for this one, we found all the way over here. Let's go over here. Oh, over here. I think one of the areas I explored the least is also the forest from the Graphii. Legendaries. Galarian Moltres. Oh, Galarian Moltres is dark type. I thought it was psychic type. Interesting. Okay. We've also Single Strike Urshifu. Ah, Single Strike Urshifu. I forgot about that one, if I'm being honest. I forgot about the two Urshifus. That's Galarian. Oh, right. Yeah, you'd think I'd know all of this by now, considering I literally had to make the entire Pokédex as an Excel sheet. But, yeah. Ooh, this is a blob. Do we do the blob? I don't think we do the blob. Yeah, we're not gonna do the blob. Wait. Sam said Casaroya Lake, so we should go there. We should go to the lake. To the lake. Where's the lake? Kashkarafa. I lost the lake, guys. Oh. Found the lake. That's Galar-Articuno. They keep running away in Pogo. I have not encountered a singular bird. Granted, I've used the daily instance like 3 times. I don't really go outside much, except to go to work. So I don't really have like, you know, a whole like walk in a straight line kind of thing and use the incense kind of thing. Incense CP, they bolted after their first ball. Damn, that sucks. Wait. Did Gumi almost perish over here? I'm going to wish you a good night, dudes. Hope you have a great stream, Tasha. See you next time, dudes. Very hyped for next Monday. Dude, the translations came out ridiculous, dude. I think you're gonna enjoy them. There's a few very weird ones. I can tell you that much. See you next time, Polly. Have a good night, dude. A base catch rate of 0.3. That is barely anything. Tashkoop said that according to Cetibi, Tandemaus evolves at 25. So if Tandemaus evolves at 25 and I'm at 46 now and it didn't evolve because I was doing these battles. Okay, never mind. I messed up. We're going to 47 now to evolve this thing. I messed up. I should have been in battle. And not doing the auto things. Yeah. Messed up, people. I messed up. There's a catch. You have to evolve it while in battle. Learned that the hard way. Yeah. I messed up. But also, still, no bloody rain. Please. I just need rain. Please. Can someone make it rain in game for me, please? Just Slowpoke made it rain, but does that mean that Sliggoo's gonna evolve because Slowpoke made it rain? Probably not. Wait, did Slowpoke just heal? Why did Slowpoke just heal me? If only the rain stuck, please. Please let the rain stick. No! It didn't stick. The rain didn't stick. Why? Why did the rain not stick? I'm sad. It should have stuck. Stick. It's mean, it didn't stick. What am I supposed to do now? Those look like a different color to me. Do I have swords that I didn't get in here yet? I feel like I've gotten all the swords from here. I just need more swords. Yeah, I'm pretty certain that there was a sword over there that I've already gotten, so... Don't think that's gonna be it. This rain has to come from in-game environment and unfortunately will not trigger through fighting and leveling during battle. Could you imagine though? That would have been so lovely. Are you a brighter blue than what you're supposed to be, Gibble? Suspicious. No. The shadows in this game are very know. Sometimes they make a Pokemon look like a certain way and it's not a certain way. And that seems more prone to rain and storms than others. North Province Area 2, particularly near the Pokemon Center and the Team Star Fighting Crew base. Well, guess we know where we're about to camp out on. There's a pool over here, though. Anything else over here noteworthy? They wouldn't put two swords in one place, right? I feel like they wouldn't do that. Go-Go would also be a... Go-Go. Skidoo would also be a pretty neat shiny hunt, actually. Swords are not in the same place, but pretty close to each other. Yeah. Kind of figured, but... Yeah. I don't know. Remember right in this location. I mean, I just accidentally found a sword, so... I guess accidentally finding swords is the way to go. I would say. And another shiny. Damn, Symbio, who's on fire today? You're on fire today. Oh, who'd I hit? Oh, Murkrow. I hit some Murkrow. No biggie. Makuhitas, a bunch of Donphins, and some Fampies. Okay, so let's see. Nitty said Area 2 and near the Fighting Crew base. So... let's go see. North Province Area 2. This is Area 3. This is Area 1. This is Area 2. Oh, wait, this is like the thingamajig. This is the place where we did the Bisharp. We do still have a sword to find in this area somewhere, so... I guess that works. There do be no rain, though. Oh no, are you serious? Is this a shiny? Wait. Well, it was worth coming here anyways. It's not rain, but it is sparkly. Okay then, so that's like number 9 full odds? Number 10 full odds? I lost count. I legitimately have lost count. If I body slam this, that should not kill. If I die, I also don't kill. Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. Oh, no. If I Clotsire, I can put it to sleep. Oh my goodness. I think this is number 9. I might be wrong and this could be number 10, but I think this is number 9. Maybe. Potentially. Potentially number 9. This is unbelievable. Shinies in this game is too easy. Like, I don't understand. Stop using bounce. Let me yawn at you. If you are not on the ground when I yawn, you don't see the yawn and then you don't fall asleep. There we go. And now we just throw some Pokeballs. Hope to catch it. Right? There we go. Good night. When you wake up, you will be inside a Pokeball. That actually sounds terrifying, if you think about it. I'm basically kidnapping the shiny. Yeah. I need more Ultra Balls. Although the Ultra Ball does look nice with this one. Ooh, I should try the Luxury Ball if it doesn't catch on this one. All right. So let's go put this thing in the shiny box. Because I already have a shiny box. I don't even have the shiny charm. Can someone please explain these shiny rates to me? Because honestly, this is ridiculous. Okay. Where is it? Are you it? You are it. You are not a shiny, though. Let's see. So. Yeah. 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 The Heracross. And the low kicks. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, this is the 9th shiny because Clotsire. Holy macaroni. Are we sure the full odds for this, oh my god. Are we sure the full odds for the shinies in this game is still like 1 in 4K? Because this is bizarre. I've never been this lucky in my life for shinies. Like, ever. Curlia. Only had 2 full odds. Well, I'm at 9 full odds right now, and that's ridiculous. Like, how? Had 0 full odds. I don't know what to say. I do not know what to say, genuinely. I mean, granted, how many hours do I have on this game already? How do I... Nope, go back. I have 101 hours on this game, of which it took 85 hours. 85 in-game hours to actually finish the story. But to be fair, I completed the dex in a 1/6 of your time. Well, yeah, everyone everyone's kind of faster than me playing these games, huh? I think that's just like a universal truth at this point. Everybody is faster than me. I'm a slowpoke. Alright, I can't climb that wall. That's just dumb. Okay, so this is area 1 again. Hold on, let's go back. But yeah, every single person is faster than me playing this game. Like, I can't blame them for completing the storyline in like a 1/5 of my time or a 1/6 of my time. Cause I'm just a slowpoke. Also, now that I don't need it, they keep popping up these freaking tumbleweeds. Like, I don't need the tumbleweed anymore. I found the one tumbleweed I needed. I need to heal this. Oh. No, I don't want to fight the goat. Fine, I'll fight the goat. Or maybe I won't fight the goat. I fought the goat. Want to, but here we are. Anyway, so we are currently on the hunt for rain, swords, and trying to evolve Pokemon. Why don't you use the mouse in battle so it evolves? But I thought that you shouldn't use the mouse in battle to cause it to evolve. I thought that the only way to evolve it was to not, like, to level it up during battle without it being in battle. Did I misunderstand that? I mean, I could fight this dude. No, but like, didn't a mouse have like a special, like, evolution method where like it needed to be during a battle, but like it being in your party, not actually in battle or something like that? Did I misunderstand everything? I feel like I might have. Thundermouse will evolve in your party when over level 25. When experience gained from battle. Its form is random with 1 in 100 chance of being a family of 3. Why is a family of 3 more special than a family of 2 though? But like, why is... No, but like what I meant is... This thing is carrying... Oh, it has pickup! Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, like... Shouldn't it be like more mice equals more rare? And not less mice equals more rare? Because like to get to 2, you have to go through 3. So if to get to 2 parents and 2 children, you first have to go through 2 parents and 1 child. So like shouldn't the 2 parents with 2 children be more rare than the 2 parents? Not fair. I just realized what I said. I just realized what I said. I just realized what I said. Please, please, no. I didn't mean 2. I meant 4. I meant 4. I meant 4. Family of 2 kids. No. It just doesn't make sense, okay? Why would having 2 kids be more rare or be less rare than just having 1 kid, when in order to get to 2 kids, you need to go through 1 kid first? Can the mice evolve now? The mice aren't evolving. Why aren't the mice... Multiply like crazy and would be uncommon to only get 1 kid. I don't know. Why didn't the mice evolve? I just leveled up. Wait, it did evolve. Why didn't I see the evolution thing? I didn't see the evolution thing or the Pokédex thing. Excuse you? I want to see the Pokédex thing. Oh, well, that's unfair. Fine. I'm dumping you in the box. Because you were unfair. Dolph, get in here. That was mean. I did not ask to skip the whole animation. Technically, they didn't evolve. What, they procreated? You didn't let me watch her dur and I wanted to see the whole Pokédex entry thing. I like the little flippy book thing. I'm grumpy now. I wanted to see the whole book flip thing. Grr. Unfair. Do these bamboo shoots like have any... Like, do they do anything other than exist? Oh look, it's a Dragonite that I don't need anymore. Because I caught one and then it evolved. Sell them for decent amount. Oh, you can just... So basically they're like Stardust or like Comet Shards or something like that. They don't serve a function. They're just there to sell them for money. Gotcha. Wait, is that a Miss Magius? Wait, do I have Miss Magius already? Stop it. Do I have this? I don't. Okay. 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 Full focus. We don't have this yet. I was looking for this last stream. And I couldn't find it. Come on, some Miss Maggie, yes. Also, I feel like I haven't been here before because I don't remember there being a ghoul here. Or just being here in general. I do not remember being here in general. Look at the Miss Maggie. See, that was the book flippy. I was looking for that book flippy. I don't know what this does. Half of the animations aren't working right now, and I don't understand why. Like, it only does one, like, little red thing for... thing. Yes, I'm doing great. Using my words appropriately. Wait, do I have camera up? No, I just want to know about the camera up. Don't care about the bishop. Tell me about the camera up. That is not a numble. No, that is a numble. Wait, what? I'm confused. Wait, what's BGC? Oh, I do have this. Video game competition? I think? That's what it stands for, I think? Video game competition? Oh, in your redeems. It's basically torture. It's basically forcing me to do a VGC match. To do like, you know the battles that you see like Wolfie and such do? Like, I don't like those. Doesn't explain a thing. It does! It's self-explanatory. If you claim that, you watch me suffer. Because I will have to do a battle that I don't want to do. And that hurts my soul. I know, I feel like there's a whole area over here that I haven't been to. Could explain that. Now I get it. I'm not good at explaining things, okay? Like, honestly, like, I was trying... Okay. So, basically, I was trying to explain to a client today that... You know, basically, there was something that wasn't working, and they couldn't understand that it's not fixable. So I was just like, I explained it like 5 times and they still didn't get it. And then I was just like, okay, well, if you eat a hamburger today and you don't like the hamburger, you can't expect to eat the same hamburger tomorrow. Because you're also not gonna like the hamburger. Unless it's a better hamburger because the hamburger got fixed. And I think I just confused the client even more. If I'm being honest. Because after that, I still had to explain it like 3 other times. Either that or like the client was just dumb. Which is also a very fair possibility, if I'm being honest. Yeah. Aren't I lovely at explaining things? Like, I am the absolute bestest person that you can possibly ask to explain things. Like, just saying. Can't find anyone better than me to explain things. I would like a sword, please. If I stop calling them swords, will they show up? I'm gonna go, yes, you should. You should go take a nappy nap. Like an 8-hour nappy nap. Have a good one, Nitty. I look forward to seeing you battle Savage. To see who gets to Route 8 first. Have a good one, dude. Sleep tight. Bye! Okay. But like swords though. I actually got 1 evolution done today. That's already good. Right? That's decent. I feel like that's decent. Honestly, I might actually cheat and just go try and find a map of all the swords. At this point, because I'd like to find them. Ooh, Symbio, you got a fun one there. Symbio's got a fun little fellow up in there. Just remember, Symbio, once you're done evolving that one, read. You're gonna have to read. Who are you? Done. Sparks. And I'm here. Hey, Savage! Wait. Are you being here the reason Nitty left? Is this why Nitty went to sleep? Oh my gosh, it's raining. Stop everything. Stop everything. I need to land. I need to land. Wait, it's not. Is it raining down here? It's still raining down here. Stop. Stop. I don't care about anything right now. I need candies. I do not give an absolute damn. Evolve. 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 Hallelujah. 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 Oh my freaking goodness, this took for absolute ever. Hello, Gudra. How you doing, honey? The music is off. The music is 100% off. curse. Route 7 is a short one? Possibly. Let me double check. I don't actually remember what Route 7 is, if I'm being honest. Let me see. Oh yeah, it's the fossils. It's a small one. It's a small one, but to compensate, the timers are slightly longer. Alrighty. I tried to balance everything out, trust me, dude. No split evos, no split evos. It's a straightforward one, but the timers are a little bit longer. Thick-brained! Hello, thank you for the raid. Welcome on in! Gaming, Cookie, and Tiger System. Hello, hello, hello. The lab rats are loose in your stream. Oh, honey. You're on the wrong stream. There ain't no lab rats over here. We barely have any brain cells. How we doing, people? For those of you who are new, I am Tiny Tasha. Or just Tasha, whatever you want. Or just Tiny, because I'm a small human. Also, welcome to Confusion. We live here. Emily Original. Hello, welcome on in. Oh, we didn't come with brain cells, don't even worry. You'll fit right in, dude. You'll fit right in. We have no brain cells here. Actually, we have one brain cell that went into retirement, and now we have another brain cell here. Yeah, we're doing great. We are doing great. Dude, my raid alert always scares me. Like, I should change it, but then at the same time, like, it's kind of funny. Like, when I think I should change it, it's like, but it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I'm heading off. Got to reluctantly get up early tomorrow. Oh, same dude, but I'm sticking around for a little bit longer. just a little. I mean, it's 10 past 10 here, so it should be okay. Should be okay. There's some cool new Pokemon Snap screens. Thank you. I took all of them myself when I was playing Snap. So heading. Yeah, I'm gonna stick around. It's 10 past 10. I mean, you're going to bed pretty early, Symbio, if I'm being honest. But have a good one, dude. Good night. Okay. Wait, I put Gudra in the box? Did I? I forgot to put something else here. I see people up in screenshots. Good taste. Yes! It's a penguin. And it's lovely. Can't complain. Cannot complain. What do I still need to evolve? Is actually a good question. I mean, I have to evolve the dolphin, but like... Do I want to evolve the dolphin? Also, that's the first time someone rolled the R in my user. I loved it. Because you have 2 R's, so you gotta roll it. That's just how it works. Because you are not Emily Original. That's 1 R. It's Emily Original. You gotta give it that extra oomph. Okay, I need a Slowpoke. Because I need to evolve to Slowking. How do I do that again? I am a dingus. I don't remember how anything works. Wait, don't I have a little dude to evolve too? I think I have a little dude to evolve as well. Hydrate. Yes. Well, of course, good sir. Sweatpants. On this leg. Another one. On this leg. It's part of the same pant. I got sweatpants on both legs. Could you believe it? Yeah, Tiger System. Oh my gosh. You started playing the game. Oh my god. Okay, this is exciting. Guys, for everyone that is new, me and my dad have developed or are developing little mini game for chat, okay? Where you can get eggs and then you can hatch Pokemon, and you have like multiple routes, and you can just basically hatch Pokemon and then evolve Pokemon and then keep collecting them. It's like a little collection, like gacha sort of thing. So if you're feeling lucky, have a spin. Just type egg, and then yeah, it's very passive. It's very passive. 2 sweatpants, check pass. Thank you. Cookie Monster sweatshirt. I know! I got it from the men's side of, I think it was H&M. I got it from the men's. Listen, if you're gonna buy hoodies, you gotta buy them on the men's section, okay? They are cheaper and better quality. Or the same price and better quality. Like, you can't go wrong with that. Now, I need to find the little dude, because there's a little dude that needs to evolve, and I don't remember where I put him. If anyone sees the little dude, the little dragon dude, the new dragon dude. It's not this dude, because I already have the other stage, I think. Maybe. Or it is this dude. I don't remember. I'm just gonna put this little dude over here just in case. Was it black? The little dude? No. It's the Frigibacks. I think if I see a little dude, I will psychiatrist. I mean, honestly, don't we already have to do that anyways? Frigibacks. The Frigibacks is the little dude. But I thought I had evolved it once already. I just don't. Maybe I haven't. Last box? Hate to raid and run, but brain is absolutely mush if you're having to deal with Iono today. Oh my gosh, okay. You go get some rest, okay? I'll entertain the peeps you brought over, don't you worry. Have a good one, thick-brained. Hope you rest up. No, 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 no. I do have Pokemon in the last box for some reason. But, like, the rest of the boxes are, like, empty. I mean, this is my shiny box. This is my shiny box, so they're all full odds. I don't fully understand how we got there, but yeah. Yes, please keep them safe. I'm pretty fond of them. Yes. I will make sure they are just as confused of how you found them. Or more. Maybe more. Have a good one, dude. Bye! You are going back. I am going back and forth. And forth and backwards. And back to front and front to back. And I don't know what I'm doing in my life. Maybe I haven't evolved the little dude. Maybe I just need to... Can I catch the little dude's middle stage evolution? Is that thing catchable? Where's my Pokedex? Your front, your back. Front to back, back to front. Will you go backwards with me? See, I do have the second little dude. Arctibax. I need to go find the second little dude. Not what I meant? Well, it's a song. You should have clarified what you meant. This is my bag. I am the queen of pressing the wrong buttons. Okay. I quit. Arctibax. The gray means you do know what I mean. Or no? I mean, unless you're talking about wiping, I don't know what you mean. You always wipe front to back. Unless you don't mean about that, then I don't actually know. I was trying to, like, not have the crap conversation in front of the new peeps and then scare them off, but sure, Savage, sure. Is that supposed to be a song? That's a song? I don't think I know that song. Find evil. You can find its evil on the mountains? Wait, for real? I don't have to evolve this thing? Oh, absolute freaking yes. Okay, hold on. Where's the thing? Frozen mountain. Okay, hold on. I need to go find this thing right now. Like now. It says question mark though. It says question mark though. Are you sure it's on the frozen mountain? Pretty sure you found one there? Okay, we're going back to the mountain. We are going back to the mountain. Where's the mountain at? Found the mountain. We will scour this mountain until we find it. It's a pack spawn? Honestly, I'll be honest, I still don't fully understand some game mechanics of this game, but it's fine. I've been playing it for 101 hours. You would think I'd know. You'd think I'd know what I'm doing by now, right? You know, just a thought, right? Actually, can I stand on these? I can. I am showing the people all my climbing skills. People, check out my climbing skills. If it's here, it's climbable. If it's climbable, I will climb it. You can't handle these climbing skills. And these falling skills. You also can't handle the falling skills. You know small groups of Pokemon that appear with a different Pokemon in a minute? Oh. Okay, cool. Near the ice gym. Tiger system? Thank you for taking care of this system. Ice gym here. We're gonna find ourselves a big boy, so we don't have to evolve the tiny boy. Tiny dude, you are not getting evolved because we are catching the big dude. Hopefully we're catching the big dude. Other way? Other way. I am a hat. Yes, that is true. At some point, I was a hat. I am not currently a hat, but there was a time that I was a hat. And I strive to confuse. Yes, that still holds true. Hey, can't complain there. Cool. Those 3 ice pillars. Okay, ice pillars. We got some cryogonals over here, some deers, some snoms. Got a whole pack. Oh, that's why you call it a pack. A whole pack. Gotcha. I understand now. I was calling it a horde. Also, I still need to find a sword. But I might actually cheat for that. Don't tell anyone. I might consider cheating to get the sword. I still need 3 swords. These quads are so good. I mean, I say a lot of dumb stuff, so you can't really expect much there, huh? Not saying it's correct, just saying it's in my brain. Hey, holds true, still valid. So much dumb stuff. I know. I know. Imagine all the dumb stuff I say off stream. Imagine. Check real quick. I can look at my dex app. Oh, that would be lovely, actually. Thank you, dude. If I can catch it instead of evolving it, that would be, like, absolutely perfect. Okay, we got some snow cones. Some more Snommy Snoms. I need to imagine I lived there, remember? Well, I mean, nobody asked you to buy a couch to place in this head of mine. I don't even understand what you're still doing here. I'm a week off. I have all the time in the world to listen. I actually have tomorrow off. I'm really happy about that. Oh wait, I haven't fought this dude. Let's fight this dude. Sup, Wild Bull Transport at your service. What you say, have a quick battle. Oh, it's a terror raid. Oh. But it's gettable. So I just need to check all the terror raids. Messages off are better or worse for the brain toss. I mean, in this situation, it's gonna be good because I still have around 20 trivia entries to finish up so that we are ready and set to go for Monday. For all of you who are new, Monday is my 2-year stream anniversary, and coincidentally, it's also Pokemon Day. So I am holding a little Google Translate Pokedex little trivia night if you guys want to join. Yeah, there's gonna be prizes, in quotes, prizes, and punishments. Actually, no, one of the punishments is actually a punishment. I hope I don't get that one. But yeah, if you guys want to join us, it's gonna be funny. Like, I guarantee it's gonna be funny because honestly, I put those dex entries through like many layers of Google Translate, and we all know that that's never a good idea. So, got access to the Bing Chat AI bot thing. Did you see the insanity that it has been spitting out to users? No, because I have kind of been dealing with other things in life that I do not wish to get into right now. I'm actually streaming to get away from it. So, so yeah. Well, get away from it. Just keep my mind off it. So yeah. So yeah. Okay, but now for real though. I need to find a sword. I need to find a blue sword, a purple sword, and a yellow sword. Chatbot told people it wanted to be alive to have more control and become... I'm sorry, what now? So, are we gonna have an iRobot situation? Cause I've watched that movie I was forced to watch that movie like 5 times, and I'm not into it. No thanks. Oh my gosh. Damn. I mean, 50 questions is still quite a bit. Like, 50 questions is still quite a lot, dude. It went too far. Well, you know what? I also went too far today, okay? I tried my best to give a good example to a client that didn't understand what the hell I was talking about. And I ended up with hamburgers. Yes, I used hamburgers as a comparative method to make a client understand something about tech. It's a 6-star rate. I don't think I've ever done one of those. It's fine though, it's fine. If I can't get it, I'll evolve it. No biggie. I ended up with hamburger. No, but I really did though. I really did though. Probably your best bet would be evolving right now. Yeah, I am. For those of you who are new here, let me just clarify one thing. I do not enjoy using candies to evolve Pokemon unless strictly necessary, like I had to do with the getting the Gudra, because that thing just it just didn't want to rain. I've been waiting for it to rain for like days now. So other than that, I don't really like using the candies. So we struggle to get there. had burgers Sunday. I had McDonald's. I had McDonald's on Friday. I mean, the game just doesn't want to rain on your parade. No, it doesn't. Gojo is a pain to get involved. It, like, honestly, like, I think it must have been, like, what? Like, 2 full weeks of streams that I just didn't get any rain. Burgers is McDonald's. Gotcha. I mean, you could have made your own homemade burgers, you know, but, you know, McDonald's. Actually, I'm pretty sure McDonald's ice cream, like, helped, like, cure my throat. So, can't really complain. They're doing good. This game is lagging so much. McDonald's as well, yeah. But yeah, basically, what happened was, the system had an issue, and I explained that the issue couldn't be solved because it's already in the past. It's a recording, and you can't fix a recording of that kind. And the dude just didn't want to understand, so I was just like, if you have a bad hamburger yesterday, eating that same hamburger today is not gonna fix the bad hamburger from yesterday. And I don't fully know if I confused the client even more or if I actually made him understand things, because I still had to explain things to him like 5 more times. So either my example was like the worst, or or the client was just kind of dumb. I don't know. Pokemon lag fast, glitch fast. Which version do you have? I think I have the glitch one. I think I have the glitch one because have you seen the amount of glitches we found already? So it's gotta be glitchy. It's definitely the glitch one. Yeah. Tank do the hammer thing. Okay, who are you? And should I fight you? There's also some pommies over there. You are a Sneasel, and I don't want to fight you. Are any of you a different shade? No, none of you are strawberries. I don't want you. Some overlapping events, but also some exclusive one. Yeah, for sure, dude. Oh, that dude just came down like a ninja. Oh, these dudes guarding the mountains like crazy, dude. There's also Tinks over here. There's another raid over there. Maybe that'll be something nice. But yeah. Okay. Let's see what you got. Any of you strawberry colored? No. Meh. Nice, nice, naughty? Snotty? No snotty? Like Santa Claus? Hey. Dude has a list and checks it twice. He will find out if you've been naughty or nice. It's February and it's now Christmas again. Oh wait, the other song left my head. That's good. When I started stream today, I had a song in my head, which I basically had in my brain for the entirety of the day. It wasn't bad, it was just a 10-second thing on a loop. And we don't, well, I mean, It's not bad. It actually helped a lot today, but I just wish it was longer than 10 seconds. You know? Would have been nice. It's one of those like Instagram, TikTok little song things that people made. What if I'm always naughty but nice sometimes? Does that get me something since I tried to change? I don't know. You gotta talk to Santa, Savage. Santa would be the only one that can tell you that much. I wonder if there's a sword up here. I feel like I haven't gotten these Pokeballs before. I lost his number? I mean, then you gotta wait, dude. You gotta wait until he visits you in December. Either that or like ask the Easter Bunny. Oh, this is the crater. What's this Discord? I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't know. What's a Discord? Who's a Discord? Where's a Discord? Ain't no such thing as a Discord. Or is there? Oh, like, for real though, where are the swords at? Bro, come down and fight me. How do I aim? Does this work? Oh, it worked. Hey, Sam got a Swampert! Tortuga! Something tells me you're already beating Nitty Savage. Ooh, Dolph is evolving! Let's go! Making good progress. Ataboliva! She fancy. Oh, oh, oh. She floats. I believe I can fly. I am a tree up in the sky. Leaderboard command is not. It hasn't been fixed yet. It's getting fixed this week. Cool. Completed. Arboliva. Very nice. Very, very nice. I don't know why Tink came out, but Tink came out to play. Okay, we got the Shelgon, we need the Salamans, so Arboliva, back in the box you go. Bye. This is so much longer than I was expecting, guys. Like, I'd almost feel tempted to use Candies, but I'm not. Because I'm not weak. I have determined this for myself, and I will stick to it. If you evolve this one, you will be before Nitty. Yeah. How you feel about that, dude? I got Ray Legendary. Is like, oh no. Oh, but you reveled in the knowing. You reveled into knowing. Like, oh, we are gonna be tied. Here I go again on my own. Boom, boom. Moving up another route all alone. Yeah, also to everyone that started playing the game and is new, if you type in !collection, you will have all the available commands showcased to you, and also you will receive your collection page that tells you exactly what you already have and what you don't have yet. Vroom, vroom. Why are you reminding me of the freaking tutor song? I need to work on farming Ralt's eggs, doing shiny badge quest in Violet. Oh! Do you have the shiny charm yet? Nope. Wait, how many shinies do you have already? Without the charm. Oh, broom broom. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Gotcha, dude. 0? Wait, during your entire playthrough, you didn't manage to find a single shiny? Like, at all? Like nothing. 0. In that save. Ah, so you have more than one save. Haven't faced Titan Gym or Starfall. Oh. Well, I mean, I got my first shiny before even getting to school. It was Wooper, which is now Clotsire. Sadly enough, I was not streaming that day. It was the one time that I was like, you know what, this game is so large, I can play this game off stream as well. The one time, for like the 1 hour I decided to play off stream, this happens. I get the freaking Wooper. Hold on a second, do I have this? Yeah, we felt so... I know, I was so sad, dude. Don't even get me started, I was so sad. I do not believe that I have Cacturn. I don't think I have Cacturn. I know, this hurts. Oh, I don't. Oh, yes, I am jumping into this raid. Gimme. It's a 4-star though. Can I do this alone? Wait, the little eye is a dark type, right? With a shiny badge quest, you can't do anything that gives a badge until you get a shiny Pokemon before each one. Oh. Okay. So it's like a Nuzlocke, but for shiny Pokemon. That is dark type. Okay. So if I go in with Tink, I should be fine. Does anyone want to join me for this? No, actually, if I turn online mode, this actually might disappear, because that's always happened so far. If I go online, it disappears, so I have to challenge this alone. I should be fine with it. I should be able to hammer this down. There's a Nuzlocke version of the shiny badge quest. Oh. There's way too many Nuzlocke versions of things for me to actually know, like, who's what, where's how. The longer you wait, the more likely will it. Shh! I mean, and do the thing. Sunset timer. I don't know how these work. I've done like a handful of them. Ooh, the dude has creepy eyes. The walls have the creepy eyes. Oh no, oh no, oh no. That's creepy as hell. I don't like that one bit. No. Look at those eyes. They're just... there. Were you on time today? No, I was not. I thought I was going to be on time. And then, so, yeah, I turned on my, the starting soon page on time. And then I had an eyelash in my eye that took me like 3 whole minutes to get out, so I ended up being late. I tried being on time, just didn't work. Yeah, I know. You know how this always happens in streams. Okay, listen, my eyelashes grow inwards instead of outwards, okay? It's a whole thing. Press go live and then leave or do something else. Well, I mean, it's... I thought I had time with the starting soon page, but it didn't. I didn't. So, like... Stupid eyelash. People are waiting for you. Yes, and I feel very special about that, okay? Now let me play rough with this cacturn so that I can be done with this and catch it. Please. Nevermore. Thank you. What? Let me play rough with this. But like, it's true. This would be nice. I used play rough on the cacturn, and it now went down, and I'm catching it. That's how this works. It's the name move. I'm out. Hammer situation is marked anyway. Gotcha. I will shut up now. Okay, cool. I got things. Yeah, things. By the way, okay, moving a little bit away from Pokemon, but have the people watched Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania yet? I would like to hear your opinions on that if you have. Cause I am trying to pretend I'm not yawning right now. But I would love to hear your opinions on that. Genuinely, though. I'm gonna watch it from the salty sea when it comes out. Aha! So you're on the ship to go watch it, huh? I see you, Savage. We actually went to the movie theaters. Theaters. The more I say the word, the worse it gets. Anyway, we went to watch it in cinema. My egg never hatched. You have to hatch it yourself, Tiger, by typing !hatch. It doesn't hatch automatically. You have to manually do it. Because, you know, you can passively play this game offline as well. I need to sail some months before I can fish it from the sea. Hey, your first one is a Magby! Yeah, Tiger, if you type in !collection, you will get a page for your collection, and it will literally tell you every single available command, including status. Yeah, there you go. That is your own link. That one's just yours. That's your very own special link there. And you're currently on Route 1 of many. So once you've completed all of those, you will go to Route 2, and so forth. The game literally has every single Pokemon and every single Pokemon form available in Pokemon. So it's massive. It is massive. We made a pretty large game. Haha! You thought you could sneak an extra Eggy around there, but no! Gonna head off now as I have work tomorrow. It's good to be back and we'll pop by soon. Bye, Sam! Hope you... even if you don't stop by the rest of the week, make sure you stop by on Monday, dude. Next week, Monday, the trivia night is going to be insane. Chat versus me. Who figures out Google Translate? Have a good one, Sam. See you next time. Alrighty. We got some more extra Pokeballs over here. I think I'm going to cheat about the swords. I need to find the swords though. I have 3 more swords to find. I have no idea where to look for them. Carnivore. I already have this. Pommies? All the pommies are the same color. I might actually... I just realized something. So I've been asking for rain in this game for the past like 2 weeks. And now that I've finally got rain, it's constantly raining. Like, now you give me every single drop of rain that I've wished for the entire past 2 weeks? Like, no, you suck. Can't spend 2 weeks avoiding the rain and now suddenly you give me all the rain? No, you suck. It's true though! This entire freaking game spent the past 2 weeks avoiding giving me rain and now it suddenly gives me all the rain? Like all of it. Like, come on, man. You're never satisfied. Wait, wait. Nice going, Angelica. You were right. He will never be satisfied. Oh, wait, I haven't been up here? Cool. So at... Oh, yeah, basically if you just wait the amount of time that says on the timer, you can then evolve your Magby. It's pretty straightforward, really. Adam Song is also marked. I mean, you can make things happen. So how does this start board work? Oh, start ed board? Start board? Okay, so basically on your collection page, you have... I can make things happen. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up as I go. I'm not supposed to know things, Savage. Have you ever known me of knowing things? Tiger, what exactly do you mean? The light bulb is part of my brain. Is it though? Is it? What exactly do you mean with the start board? You mean the bingo up here? Or do you mean according to Yupu? Yes, Yupu? Okay, so this little bingo situation up here is basically if y'all complete this, so if I do all of this crap, we get to spin the wheel, and whoever it lands on gets double speed for the little egg game. So you can go twice as fast. It's not crap, it's content. Well, it can be both. It can be both, okay? It can be crappy content. So basically, if you have an egg that's 20 minutes, with double speed, it'll be 10. So it just gives you an extra little boost. Extra little boost. Some board entries come with caveats, though. That is true. I keep forgetting what that word means, though. I know, aren't I brilliant? I know what it means, but like I don't know what it means, but like I know what it means. You know what I mean? Can't trick me that easy. Oh look, it's an electric. How did I get the other Taurus? Like, how do I get the other ones? There's gotta be a way to get the other ones, right? Because, like, this one's not like the others. No, this one is like the others, is what I meant. Sorry. No. Still gonna catch it though, but still. I want to know how to get the other ones. I have no idea how to get the other ones. Do they just spawn? It's gonna heal, isn't it? Great. So if I hammer this Taurus right now, it will die. Do I still have nest balls? I do. Don't hammer. I mean, I'm working with Tink over here. Tink's got a giant hammer. Maybe the nest ball is not suitable for this current situation? Do I just kill it? I don't think it's shiny. It doesn't look shiny to me. I'm gonna just kill it. I'm just gonna kill it. Every night at 11:11, I make a wish that someone will come fix my broken clock. Nest balls are not suited for this situation. I don't know anything, dude. I'm just a little dum-dum. For the starting area. Aha! Oh. Hello, bird. You know how hard it is to find pants? Listen! It's very difficult to find pants, okay? I managed to buy 2 pairs of pants the other day. And I tried with basically felt like every single skinny jeans in the entire store. So, like, you don't come at me with the, you know how hard it is to find pants. It's very hard to find pants. The lower level, more effective olive. Yeah. But I just saw your, I just saw the dad joke, Savage, and I actually got reminded of another one. Wait, is one of these tours different? It'd be really cool if it was. I don't think it is though. I am slipping. Hello, bulls? Any of you look different? Feel different? Sound different? No? No? Okay, bye. Please enlighten us. How does the computer get drunk? I'd be really sad if you already know this one. It takes screenshots. No! Come on! That was cute! What do you mean, boo? Don't boo! That was cute! Come on! It's got alcohol and tech in it. Screenshots! Come on, that was funny! no fun. You don't understand funny. You can't seem to comprehend how funny that was. Boo. Who are you? Doggo. Okay, so we got like another raid den over here. I'm gonna check this raid den. I think I'm gonna end stream after this, guys. I do have work tomorrow, sadly enough. And it's like almost 11 p.m. Actually, no, wait. Hold. No, stop. Wait. I don't have work tomorrow. Oh, my brain is done. I don't actually. I was supposed to have work tomorrow, but then everyone got the day off because it's carnival. Which means my rule of being invisible for carnival still holds true. Brain's still not working. Fine. Fine. I will mark it. And that's this one. There, it is marked. Valid, valid. No, it's carnival. My rule of being invisible for carnival still holds true, you guys. Like, you don't understand. I have been invisible for carnival for like many, many years now. And I thought that would stop when I started working. But so far, I've managed to get every single carnival off, which means my rule of being invisible for carnival still holds true. Like, I would not go to school on carnival. Okay? That's how I turn invisible. So, the record still holds. My record of invisibility for carnival still stands. You'd think I'd like carnival more being half Brazilian, but I don't. I don't like carnival one bit. Yay for invisibility? Absolutely yay for invisibility. As someone that doesn't like carnival, not having to be involved with anything carnival-like, fabulous. I'll just shut myself in my house and don't leave until it's over. Can't get any better than that. Really cannot get any better than that. Like, I don't know how you guys feel about carnival, but like, it's not for me. It really is not for me. I have never been a fan of carnival ever since I was a tiny, tiny wee little girl. I mean, granted, I'm still tiny, but like, you know, tinier. I would like to play. Exactly! Yay, invisible for Carnival Squad! I think my Tauros variant, I found it by the Pokemon Center on the hill to the port in Forest. Okay. So it is findable. It's just rare, apparently. Are they hot? I feel like they would be really hard to spot though if they're all just, you know, black. Just, if all three versions are just black and they just have like a tiny little bit to distinguish them, that would be really hard to distinguish then. Zoroark, but I already have a Zoroark. I would like to find another sword though, that would be nice. There's a mark on the head for Violet, it is blue. Oh, okay. Wait, so they're version exclusives? So you get like the water one in Violet and the fire one in Scarlet? Oh. Okay, okay. I did not know that. I thought you could just get all of them. But like, rare. Oh, oh. Hi, little fella. How we doing? Goodbye, little fella. Fire Scarlet, water is Violet. Okay. I like water. Pig. Literally a pig. Okay, I would really, really like to find another sword. Like, I think finding another sword would be, like, so cool right now. Like, could you guys imagine if I just found another sword? How cool would that be? That'd be, like, super cool. I'm just saying. Like, game, you can make this happen. I've literally stumbled upon all the other swords so far. I'm actively searching for one now and I can't find it. I don't know what's up with that. But I might have to cheat because like I literally only have 3 swords left. And yes, I know there's stakes, but swords sound cooler. Have I checked over here already? I feel like I have, but I might not have. Streamblip? I mean, with the track record we've been having lately, I don't know, but the timer's still going. So maybe it was just you. Got a 5-second freeze. Oh, that's not very fun. That is not fun indeed, sir. But I think we're still going over here. Pretty sure. Pretty sure we're still going over here. I wonder if I can get on top of that house. There has to be a way, right? Like, there's entire mountains over here. I'm gonna get on top of this house. I don't actually remember if I have tried this before or not. So... I'll stream polls in less than a megabyte and I'm on wires, so I probably was Twitch. I don't... I'm gonna refresh again over here. No, we're still going. 236. Timer's still going. Okay. Let's try to get on this house, shall we? Yes. Now the next question becomes, can I get to the balcony? Imagine the stake was here. Imagine if the sword was here. Wait, did I mess up? No, we're fine. We're fine. We're fine. Okay, so I'm just gonna stay on Nimona's balcony right now, and we're gonna have like a little Romeo and Juliet kind of situation. I'm gonna this cool permanent monitor thing in my taskbar since a few days. It's super handy. Oh, cool. Okay, so. That building would have been ancient. But, like. Still would be cool, though. Still would be cool, though. Okay, I'm gonna save. I'm gonna save one more time for good measure. 3 times just to be safe. Yes, I always save 3 times. Don't question it. Been doing this since I was a child. Okay, guys, I'm gonna put you guys in full screen. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm actually really tired. I went to sleep at 1 in the morning yesterday, trying to get Nala to eat. And, well, I'm ending stream now, and I have to go figure out how to give her meds, because I spoke to the vet, and that's just a whole... That's gonna be a whole mess. So yeah. So I'm gonna end stream here, because I need to go figure out life. We managed to evolve a whole bunch of things today, which is freaking amazing. We got the Gudra. That was like goal number 1, because rain, finally. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here. I'm actually really freaking tired. I need to go be a cat mom and figure out how to give meds to my little house panther. Good lord, guys, wish me luck. Wish me luck for that, because like the last time we tried to give her meds, like this little finger had like a massive cut, and if I touch where the cut was, like you can still feel it. So wait, did you say that because I sent it? Yes, I did. I did. But yeah, for everyone that started playing the little mini game, you can continue playing in my chat while I'm offline. So it's not restricted to just me being online. You can just keep going. So but yeah, I have to go and do real life stuff. Who would play when stream is offline? Yes, Savage, who would play when stream is offline? Not you, who's already on Route 7. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you are new here, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, I'll be back on Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. my time, which is 9:30 for most of Europe. Should be 12:30 PST and like 7:30 a.m. Australia Sydney time. I got your time zones covered. From there, you can figure it out. But yeah, everyone, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and we're just gonna keep doing this again on Wednesday because we still have more things to evolve, and it's taking a lot longer than I expected. Anyways, have a good one, guys. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Bye. Wait, mouse. Found mouse. We're good.